What you're looking at right here are the brand new Jabra Elite 4 active earbuds, which in my opinion might be the new king of wireless earbuds when it comes to workouts and just bass lovers in general. So you might remember the Elite 75T earbuds from 2 years ago. They had a great water resistance, great design, great for workouts, and of course that signature bass heavy sound that we really liked about the Jabra earbuds. Since it came out, however, we really haven't seen many new replacements for those earbuds. The 85Ts were a little bulkier, they kind of dialed back the bass a little bit, and newer Jabra earbuds were just not the same as the 75Ts. That is, until now. These, the Jabra Elite 4 Actives, are designed for workouts, they're extremely versatile, they have active noise cancellation, they're compact, comfortable, and of course they have that classic bass-heavy sound that a lot of people really like about Jabra earbuds. Additionally, these are now selling for about $120. Now, while I do seriously think that these can be my new go-to earbuds for workouts and possibly replace my Beats Fit Pro, there is one catch that I want to address. But let's first start with the physical tour of these, talk about what we're dealing with. Of course, the case on the outside you'll see is very familiar. It's much like most other Jabra earbuds, and it's one of my favorite designs for cases. The downside here is that there is no Qi wireless charging. I mean, that's going to be kind of expected when you're talking about a lower price within the range, but still, for $120, I would expect some Qi wireless charging. That's definitely a drawback. We do have USB Type-C charging on the back. We have our classic LED on the front to indicate when it's pairing, when it's updating, or of course, if it's just, the battery level in general. When you open them up, I love how the earbuds case sits up, but the earbuds themselves, although they fit and the overall geometry is very similar to the 75Ts, they are slightly different in that when you look at them, you don't see a physical button on the outside. Now, at first, I was concerned when these came out because I saw the box and I thought, that can't be good. That's one of the main reasons I like the Jabra earbuds, especially for working out. But don't worry, there is still a physical button. In fact, the outer plastic, or maybe it's possibly like a soft rubber, it's really kind of hard to tell because it is pretty firm, but if you press it, there is that tactile feedback. It's a physical button there. Additionally, we have our little charging nose on the inside. Unfortunately, there is no proximity sensor on these. They come in 3 different colors, as you can see right here. There's mint, there's blue, and of course black. And then we have 4 microphones as well. With that being said, let's actually get into a microphone test right now to see how they really sound. All right, so getting into a microphone test. These are the Jabra Elite 4 Actives indoors, obviously in a studio environment, so this is probably as good as they're going to sound. We're going to go outside and see how they sound in a louder environment. Of course, like I said, these do have 4 microphones. They have active noise cancellation, and they also have a transparency kind of pass-through mode, so I can hear my own voice while I'm talking on the phone, something that I really do appreciate. All right, so now I'm outside. There's a little bit of traffic behind me, a little breezy out here, but let me know what you think of the microphones in a louder environment. Now, of course, I don't know if you've tried the Jabra Elite 3s or the 75Ts, so I don't want to brush over the fit too much. These tend to go pretty deep in your ear canal. They don't really stick out that far, but I find that they stay in relatively well unless your ears get really, really sweaty. If you're somebody that has really sweaty ears, then there is a chance these could work their way out of your ear if you're doing really dynamic workouts. They don't have that little wingtip that we saw on the Beats. However, for just about any workout out there, I find that they stay in my ears personally really well. I don't have any issue with them falling out, and I really do like the physical button. The physical button is something that you don't see on many earbuds out there, but especially for working out, I really value that. Because if you're running outside and it's cold and you have gloves on, capacitive touch sensors don't work. If you're running outside and your hands are sweaty, or if it's raining, again, capacitive touch sensors don't work when they're wet. And the third thing is if your hands are just really cold, sometimes they're not registered by touch sensors. So physical button is just more reliable in pretty much every situation for my experience. And so I really do appreciate that they still have that on there. Now, as far as water resistance goes, these are more than suited for any kind of sweat or rain or whatever you're doing, because these are IP57 water resistant. Now, some people might ask, can you go swimming with them? The answer is kind of no for any Bluetooth earbuds, because Bluetooth and water doesn't really work well. So for everything that's not swimming, these are definitely resistant, and they do a really good job. The battery life on these, again, is something that we really like to see. 7 hours in the earbuds, 28 hours when you include the case, should easily be getting you through several days of use, if not an entire week, obviously depending on how much you use them. And an additional thing to note about the lineup in general, I know this might confuse people, and I actually will be making a full video comparing the entire Jabra lineup. If you want to see that, definitely do click that subscribe button. But essentially, the Jabra Elite 7 Pros, they're going to be more for casual listening. They're smaller, they have slightly better ANC and sound quality, and they do have multi-pairing right now, so they can connect to multiple devices at the same time. Unfortunately, these only connect to one device at a time. Then one tier down from that, we have the Jabra Elite 7 Actives. Have not made a video about those yet, but essentially they're very, very similar to these. They're slightly more expensive, and you're getting a few extra features, but the water resistance and the battery life and things like that are going to be very, very similar to these. Then we have the Jabra Elite 3s, which are more budget-friendly. They're below this. So I said these are $120. The 3s are about $80, and they still do a really decent job as well. You guys can see my full review on those. But essentially, these are fitting right in the sweet spot where I think most people, especially just for working out or just for bass lovers, these are going to do a great job. But that leads me into the next thing I want to talk about, being the bass on these earbuds. In fact, I want to talk about the sound quality in general. So these are definitely a very strong pair of earbuds with a very powerful bass. It's not the fastest sound and therefore not the tightest bass out there, but you're gonna get a loud, boomy bass that really emphasizes and gives you a lot of energy when you're listening to music while you're working out. The highs and mids can get a little bit eclipsed by the lows, but like I said, it's very lively with lifted highs, so you do get a little bit of vibrance there. Still a tad on the dark side though, which, I mean, for those seeking a lot of bass and a lot of like high energy music, especially when you're working out, this is going to be a pretty ideal sound for you. Of course, there is some congestion with weak instrument separation, as you might expect with a kind of slower pair of earbuds with a really big emphasis on bass, but overall, just to really emphasize the sound quality on these, big, lively sound, lacking in detail, lacking in separation, but when you're working out, I think that's exactly what Jabra was going for. That's one of the big reasons people love them, or the 75Ts, because you either love that big bass, you love the high energy music, or you're working out and that's exactly what you want anyway. So some other things to note with the sound of these earbuds, besides just the audio itself, these do have a Hearthrough mode, as I said. You can adjust that within the app. They also have active noise cancellation, which again, you can adjust when you first set it up. You can choose the level and if it's right or left dominant. These also, and this is something I think is really interesting, kind of a head scratcher for me. These support SBC and aptX as their two main codecs there. And aptX is something that we don't even see on the Elite 7 Pros, which only have SBC and AAC. But the 3s also have aptX. So I don't know if it was a different chip they put in here, maybe a newer one from Qualcomm that has aptX capabilities at a lower price. Either way, I'm not sure, but the sound quality, like I said, is not going to be especially analytical anyway, so it doesn't make a massive difference, but still, it's kind of a benefit to have aptX on here. And then lastly, as far as lag goes, of course, most apps like YouTube are going to automatically adjust for you, but for games and other apps that maybe don't adjust for lag, the lag on these is surprisingly low. You're looking at about 250 milliseconds, which is lower than the pretty common standard out there of about 400 milliseconds, so that's, again, another positive with Bluetooth 5.2 and the newer chips we're dealing with. Now, let's get into the features with these earbuds. As I mentioned before, Bluetooth 5.2 is great. It's giving us mono mode, which means you can listen to just the left or just the right earbud while the other one is in the case. And if you have an Android phone, you get 3 more benefits on here. The first one is the ability to summon Spotify with just the controls on the earbuds, similar to what we saw on the Galaxy Buds a couple of years ago. We also have Google Fast Pair, and we have Amazon Alex, you know who I'm talking about, their voice assistant. But Google Fast Pair is nice. As soon as you open these, it pops up on your Android device and you can connect them. Naturally, these do also work on iPhones. However, there are going to be a few drawbacks for iPhone users. One of them, you don't get Fast Pair because Apple only likes Apple. The second one is that you're not able to summon Spotify with the controls on the earbuds. And the third one is that you will not be able to use aptX. That's just something that only works with Android right now. Now, talking about controls, I'm going to show you guys right on the screen here what the controls do for the left and the right earbud. But otherwise, that's pretty much as far as it goes for the actual features on here. But I want to say, when you get these, definitely be sure to get the update as soon as possible. So you want to charge them up, connect to your phone, open the Jabra Sound Plus app, and you're going to actually go and install that firmware update. That's what's going to give you a lot of the new features, including, for example, active noise cancellation, which out of the box, it doesn't actually have. But I mentioned earlier in this video that there are some negatives. Not everything's positive, and so there's really a couple big things that I think set this back, and for this price point, I would like to see them. The first one being wireless charging. I don't know why they didn't add that. It's a very similar case to what we saw before, and many other cases that look exactly like this from Jabra did have wireless charging. Secondly, they don't have a proximity sensor, which for me, especially when I'm at the gym, I think is really important. Of course, you can switch to transparency mode and hear things around you every now and then, but it's still nice to just take the earbuds out, talk to somebody, put them back in, and it continues your music. These don't have that. When you take them out, they'll just continue playing until you press the button to pause them. And the last one is that currently these do not have the ability to connect to multiple devices at once and toggle between them. So like your laptop and your phone, it's something that we didn't see on the Jabra Elite 7 Actives or 7 Pros, but they now are rolling it out for those. So I don't know, maybe they'll roll it out for this eventually. Jabra has been a really good company about updating things, but in general, I think that Jabra really did a good job this year. The 85Ts last year felt like a bit of a miss to me, but this year Jabra is back on track, and in my opinion, better than ever. The 3s are great for if you're on a budget, like seriously great. I prefer them over a lot of earbuds out there. The 7 Pros have been kind of my ultimate go-to because they're very light, they're very versatile, they're compact, and they have pretty decent sound, while also being able to connect to multiple devices at once thanks to that new update. And then these right here fit into the lineup as, in my opinion, a pretty ideal pair for working out. They have that emphasis on bass that you're not getting from the other pairs, and additionally, you're still getting the physical buttons while getting better water resistance. So leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the Jabra Elite 4s, as well as the Jabra lineup in general this year. Like I said, I will be making a full video comparing them, but if you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien. Thanks for watching. See you next time.